Hello and welcome to another edition of Breaking the Seal with your host, Mr. MegaManFan. And this one has a bit of a backstory to it because I was at a local store, won't name which one, and they had a copy of Phantasy Star Online 3. Now it was complete, but it was in really rough shape. Manual was crunched up, the artwork had water stains, and they wanted $48 for it, which was before tax. Plus tax would have been over 50. And I really wasn't in the mood to pay for it in that condition at that price. So I looked around and I found a seller on eBay selling brand new, unopened, sealed copies of the same game for $35 with free shipping. So add tax to that, $37. So 37 for a brand new sealed game in great condition, 50 for one in terrible condition. I think you can see why I made the call here. And since I was going to have an opened copy if I bought the really rough one, I'm going to open this one. I know people will fetishize the fact that it's a sealed game, but quite frankly, there are more copies. This seller had them. If you really want a sealed one, go buy one. If there are multiple copies available, it's clearly not in short supply, and I can think of a few reasons why. There is the word online in Phantasy Star Online, and when it comes to the GameCube, that's a bit of a conundrum because the GameCube has no built-in internet support, no Wi-Fi, no anything. You have to either buy a modem or a broadband adapter. I actually have a broadband adapter that I've never even taken out of the package because by the time I was buying the Phantasy Star Online games for GameCube, it was already too late. The servers were shut down in 2007. Now, there are unofficial servers and there are ways to connect to them, but you're still going to need to have a broadband adapter of some kind, and that's not exactly the easiest thing to come by these days because everything GameCube has become collectible over the last few years. So good luck if you really want to play this online. Thankfully, Phantasy Star Online does have an offline story mode, so there's still something to experience if you buy this game. And it's a card trading game, which makes it unique in the Phantasy Star Online series. Of course, collectible card trading has been an on and off fad over the years. Every time it seems to die out, a new craze comes along, and Pokemon cards have been pretty consistent throughout the 3 decades or so that I've been collecting video games, back to the 90s. So there's always been something to fuel the resurgence, and video games have been eager to mimic and adopt that by trying to put card trading in video games, and Phantasy Star Online is no exception to that. So this is episode 3, and in this game you are back on the original Pioneer 2 from the Phantasy Star 1 and 2 online, and what you're trying to do is colonize a planet, but there's multiple factions that are either for or against it for various reasons, and you have to choose a side. You have to choose the hero side or the dark side and try to navigate your way through the battles with cards that have abilities and weapons and powers and such. You use the cards just like you would in any turn-based card game. I suppose that makes it a decent game, and it got decent reviews. Like, it was praised for being well received by hardcore Phantasy Star Online fans, and also criticized for being more of the same and not really anything new. So guess, like the game itself, it depends on which camp you fall into. But for me, it was worth it to buy it and break the seal. I don't have that necessity to keep a game that's been sealed for 15 years sealed forever. If I really want to keep it sealed, I could buy another one, but I wanted to open it and play it, and play it I shall. And it seems to me it's got some depth with character customization and different choices that you're allowed to make. So even in the offline mode, I feel like it's going to be a pretty good time going through Phantasy Star Online 3 Card Revolution. And if you disagree and you don't think I should break the seal, you can say so in the comments below. But that's why I call it breaking the seal, because that's what I want to do. Take sealed games, open them up. I am not getting them graded. I am not going to put them in a case where nobody can ever touch them again, let alone break the seal. That's not my thing. And I'm not saying it's wrong or right. It's just not my thing. That doesn't mean that I don't own sealed games. It just means I don't go out of my way to collect sealed games or specifically buy sealed games to never open them. I've accidentally ended up with sealed games over the years, and when I find that I have more than one copy of something, I'm going to keep one sealed and break the other one open. And if I don't have multiple copies of a game, I'll open it and then I'll live with it, because I'm not fetishizing it to the point where I'm going to keep it sealed, get it graded, lock it in a plastic box, and then never touch it and hope it appreciates in value over the years. If that's your thing though, hey, more power to you. I'm Mr. MegaManFan, and this has been another edition of Breaking the Seal.